Matomo. It's about making the ecosystem bigger. So in the Google world, we already have Google Locker. Google Analytics has the same limitations as Matomo has. So it's not that Matomo is bad. We're just enhancing the ecosystem. All right, so meet Rebel metrics. This is what we call the solution. So it's open source, or actually we're using open source components. So it's a SaaS service. It's not something you can download from us. It's a SaaS service that we built, but it's based on open source software. All right, so it's built with ClickHouse, which is a database, column-based database for great reading speed, and Apache Superset, as I mentioned. I will get in, I saw the question, I will get into how we get the data from Matomo. So getting data from Matomo is actually really easy. You probably already use this. You can just right-click, export, and play. So we can get data from in this case, the page view report, and we can get that as a JSON file, HTML, CSV. It's easy, right? And with that, we can start to build dashboards in another tool. There are plugins that can help you do this. The APIs really allows us to just quickly fetch things, build graphs, visualize them, use them in a Google spreadsheet. So that's great. However, when we want to start combining data, let's say we have the page views and the events, and we want to start to filter them, and we want users to engage or interact with those reports at the same time, then it starts to get a bit complicated in Matomo. We have the dashboard solutions, and we can apply some segmentation to the reports and so on, but it's going to be quite limited. It's also really hard to manipulate collected data and maybe to correct errors, or looking at data historically. We can use the custom report that will give us some, and it's a premium plugin that will give us some features that we have in these solutions, but it's really, really limited. And then, yeah, giving users advanced filtering. We'll get to that. So there are several ways to get data from Matomo, probably more, but I've tried to make it simple. So you have the API, the one I showed you. You can simply get data. You can get even real-time data from this. And it's basically you can get any data in Matomo, since Matomo is built API first. So basically every feature you use in the interface is actually calling an API, and that means you can fetch that data and get it somewhere else. The other way you could do is, of course, to write your own SQL queries, have some kind of a solution that manage those queries and give them to your visualization tool. With this, you can really do anything, and you can probably do, or you can do more advanced things than you can do in Matomo, because you're of course, free to do any query or anything. And you can get real-time data. And yeah, you get it. What we're doing is data exports. So with that, we create great read speeds. So we're actually fetching data from Matomo as an export, and we put that into ClickHouse, which is a column-oriented database. And then we actually manipulate and enhance that data. So we add metadata to the data before we add it. I will show you a little bit of that and create some new fields and columns, which is quite cool, actually. So what are the limitations? With the API, you have this limited features that you can't really do filtering. The fields you have in the API, you are stuck with them. You can't add more dimensions. You need to develop a new plugin to that. If you want to combine titles, URLs, and then do something else, you're stuck with custom reports in a way, but it's really limited. Well, the custom SQLs is of course complex and time-consuming. I would also point out that performance of your Matomo database is probably going to limit you in a lot of cases. And and with the data exports, we need to kind of maintain our own data model, and we need to do these integrations, and we need to maintain this while Matomo is updated. And real-time data is not really possible. So the way we do it right now is that we do it every night, but it at least works for us in the way we're looking into shorter time frames. But for now, every night. All right, so how does it work? Well, we have a nightly batch job, basically, that runs an SQL query, creates a flat file. It's basically a CSV file that we create, and we store it in a Swift storage. That's really technical. So the storage we add it to, we have some kind of a middle manager that adds some things and manipulates and creates the right data formats and so on. And then it's stored in ClickHouse, which is an open source column-oriented database. Then we use Apache Superset, which is a lightweight visualization software on top that can talk to ClickHouse. It can talk to a lot of databases, but the main thing here is that we have several components, and I will go through them all. So there's a database in Superset, which is basically a connector, and we can connect it to lots of known databases. So in our instance, we have the ClickHouse, which is used for Matomo imports, but we also have a Postgres SQL that is used because we can upload SQL files or spreadsheets so that we can combine the Matomo data with something else in our solution. We also have something called a dataset. So there are two types. So the dataset is, first of all, the columns that we have in the database that we connect to. So if you import a spreadsheet, the dataset is going to be mapped to those columns you have, but you can also start to manipulate that dataset. So you can add a calculated feed. You can combine two columns, create a query that will combine column 1 and 2 and create something new. Or you can do different things. So that's something you can do in the dataset. And then you have the virtual dataset, which is basically a query result from another dataset, which is also really, really powerful. I will show you some examples in the end about that. And then we have queries. So basically, we can run SQL queries on this, which is then can be used to create a chart, which is a visualization or a new data set. Charts are a no-code interface to build charts or graphs quickly. And there's lots of nice visualizations. And we all actually, in our solutions, built in more than 40 ready-made charts for Matomo. So you have the page views, you have the events, you have a lot of things. I'll show you some. So when you start off with Rebel Metrics, you already have a lot of things ready. We also have the dashboard feature, which is where you combine the charts and you can add filter, and there's a layout tool. You could add text and image and make your job shine in a way that we can't do in Matomo. So that's the presentation part, and now it's a little bit of a demo time, and I'm gonna just start off by showing you some dashboards. So the first one I'm going to show you, so this is the dashboards we have. It's just our default dashboard that we built that will give you, so what you're seeing here is a dashboard, and I can just minimize that. So all of these small widgets are charts, and they are combined into this dashboard. So we can just, as you can see, you have a lot of features here. So this is the page view report, and we have features like direct searching into it, so you can find things, and you can do all of these kind of things. There are really, really cool analytics feature here, so we can do things like looking at the page views, what trends and changes were there. We can get graphs for different URLs and stuff like that. So this is basically what a dashboard is. The cool thing about the dashboard is that you can add filtering. So on the left side here, we first of all have a site filter. So I can basically collect data from any site that's in this Matomo installation. We have the date filtering, And then we have a lot of custom filters that I can add. So in this case, I just want to see data from these 2 campaigns. And then I can just apply that, and it will automatically update on all charts. The interesting part here is that I can add new filters. So I can just add a filter to this dashboard, and here I can get basically any column. So as you can see here, maybe I want to use the custom dimensions in this installation as a filter. So I just want to see filter down these actions that are have matched a certain dimension. We'll not change this one right now. And so this would be a great start. What I also can do is I can edit this dashboard, and we can create new layouts. So I can just drag in a new row and start to rearrange this one. Or maybe I want to use one of the other charts I built. I can just see if I have something nice. I can just drag in something new and resize it like this. So as you see, it's really easy to modify and build it. And what I also can do is that I can do save as. So I can actually copy a dashboard. And in this case, I can also make new copies of every chart that is available in here. So I can really modify and copy and do something new. But it's really easy. So if you have something that is working, you can just copy that and get started with something new. So it's really great. The next thing, I can show you some cases that we built. So this is one of the users we have had as a beta user for this for about half a year. So this is the Human Rights Watch and their weekly report. This is actually something they use internally to see what news article or blog posts or stories, as they call them, are mostly read last week. And this looks pretty like standard, but we actually done some cool things here that you would never be able to do without coding in Matomo. So first of all, this one, I can show you the most read stories from last week. So the cool thing here is that you can actually click on these links and get to the article. That's maybe not, you can do that in Matomo as well, but that's one thing. But if I go in, and now you'll see also the query builder. What we actually did here is that how did we show articles only from last week? Because there is actually no logic about publishing dates in Matomo. So we had to do a query. So this one is actually a really advanced, because I'll click again. You actually have the date in the URL. So what we're doing is that we're creating an advanced filter that looks at the URL, and this is the one you can see here when I hover the mouse. It's really complicated, but you can basically do this super advanced queries with a relative date and fetch things based on that. So it's yeah, pretty cool, right? Another thing, I'll show you, we have widgets like this with the world map, and this is the visitors per country, and you can do a lot of things and modify it. As you can see here, we have a percentage. This is really a built-in feature in the table functionality. I'll just scroll through it, and you'll get the point. All right, so the next thing I'm gonna demo to you is how to build a chart. So if you go to the chart builder in Apache Superset, we can click on create chart. And the first thing I want to do is to create or pick the data set I'm going to use. I'm going to use Matomo. I have a lot of test data in this. The next thing you want to do is to select what type of visualization or chart type do you want to use. So there are lots of things built in here. So you have everything from building funnels to things where you can use GPS data or position data or whatever. But usually what I'm using is, if I go to popular, I use the table one because this is really easy to understand. So what we're doing here is we're showing the query builder. So let's do just a simple page view report. And this is also where I'm going to show you some things we added to this. So we have multiple fields for page URLs. So one problem in Matomo is that the page view report sometimes contains things like URL parameters. We also display the page URL with the full host name. So if you want to display that in a chart, sometimes that can be just space consuming. So what we did was that we created these pre-filtered or pre-modified versions of this. So I'm having the page URL path that will only give me the path of the actual URL. So it's pretty simple. So you can see here that in this case, we have the full domain name, but here we only have the path. So that's why if I'm updating this, you can see it's really just gonna make the report cleaner. And we can then add new metrics. So maybe we want to show the visitors, and we want to show also visits because that's different, right? And then we update the chart. So now you can see the kind of exploratory research features we have. We can also add things like, I want to maybe show the page title in combination with the URL, so it's really clear what I'm looking at. So we can do that. We can really just this is like the custom reports, but on steroids, I would say. You can also add, as I said, we can add a percentage metric. So we can add page views to get a percentage of the page views like that. You can add any metrics like this. So you can see, okay, so it's 22% of the metrics. In this instance, we are having all our Matomo sites from this installation. So one thing we usually do is that we want to filter it down. So then we add, we need to filter this down to the ID site equals. So now you can see the filtering functions equals 1. So now we're only looking at ID site number 1. But maybe I want to create an even more advanced thing. So I want to limit this one to something that is we can do like, and only starting with log, for instance. Let's see if my regex is working. I didn't. What did I do wrong? Maybe I did too. Oh. Let's make it simple. Just use a contains. Like. I think that works. Clearly doing something wrong here. Like, let's do this. Sorry about always the problem when you're doing a demo. Page. Okay, and then percent. Okay, phew, it worked. So just as an example, so and then you can start to do more and more things with this. It's really up to you to what you want to do and start to filter out. So one thing you can also start doing is to do calculated metrics in this. So maybe you want to divide the number of users that performed a certain event with the number of total users that came to the site. So in this case, I'm going to show you another report. So this is in Swedish, but we built it for one of our clients that's also using this. Let's see if we can get down to metric I was thinking about. Maybe we can look at this one and see count. Yeah. So in this case, we're doing a count if this visit matches an event, and then we're dividing it by the total count of visitors. So you can see you can really, and we can actually do this directly in the metric column. So we can just type a custom SQL. Of course, you need to try it out and fix it and so on, but it's really, really powerful. And this gives us so great opportunities to really create the dashboards that is business oriented, not just metric oriented like in Matomo. So it's really about creating this end user features. I also created another, let's talk about the data sets, because if that kind of a metric would be something that I want to use all over the place, we can go in and edit this data set. So if I edit the data set, we have different things here. So I have the metrics. And as you can see here, we already created things like, so what is a bounce? Well, we have, we need to recreate the Matomo metrics in Superset because we're creating our own data model. So all of these things are, what did I do now? Too much clicking. So we really need to create the metrics and so on. But we can also do things like calculated columns. So what this could be is that we can start to modify things. So for instance, this is just a case where we want to name things. So if someone goes to a section called press and media, we just want to call it global. And then if they go to the Swedish news and press, we want to tag it with Sweden. But what you can actually do with this is one example. I've had actually several clients that had a problem that they actually had multiple URLs for the start page. So they had some kind of an alias function in their CMS. So that will be a problem if you want to know the total amount of traffic to your start page. So what you can do then is something like a modified path, maybe. And then we enter an expression like this, and then we can, instead of this one, we can do page URL like that. And let's say we have a start page that is called version 2. We can then just rewrite that URL so it's becoming the start page as well. So by doing that, and then we would do something. Else we would just return the page URL. So as you can see, you can really do cool things here. And that would solve things or problems with your data collection and make it possible to do great reporting, of course. And then you have the metrics, and here you can start to do other things, like, as I said, if you wanted to start to calculate something that is really unique to your site, that's maybe connected to your effect goals or KPIs that you have from a business perspective, we can actually start to create those. Another thing I want to show you, the virtual data set is another cool thing. So what we did here is that we created a new data set, and we did that from a query. So this actually creates a new data, so you can see all the columns I selected, but it's giving me some kind of a visitor segmentation. So I only want to see visitors in this data set that matches, they either matched one of these event categories, or they have been on a page that matches this. And when I do so, I can go to that data set, I can just click on it, and then I can start to build reports just based on visitors that matches this. So again, this is really, really, really cool. I also want to show you some charts or dashboards we built. So you probably all use the transitions report in Matomo, where we can see the previous and next page. So this is actually the variant I built into Superset. So it's actually showing me, in this case, it's a bit hard-coded. So first I need to select on the left side, I need to select the URL I want to look into. So this, and I need to do it twice, but that will actually give me the amount of page views that is coming from this page. And maybe I can filter it down to our site as well. Give it a little bit. So during this period, we had 24 visits or page views coming from that URL and so on, and they went to this URL. And this will not really have any performance limitations, and you can do it with all your data. So it's just one example. Another feature I built was a media report. Let's see where we have it. We can look at it. We can look at the trends ones first. So trends will just give you like these small graphs of different metrics over time. You can see the channel reports, and here you can see different way and how nice some of the visualizations are. You even have, in some charts, you have things like prediction. So you can actually go into a chart and you have these features of, first you have the advanced analytics. So I can actually, I can upload annotations to this. So I can maybe do a baseline here and type it. And just try it. Let's see what happens. I don't know if I got something. Demo, yeah. So I have some kind of a baseline. I don't know if it's even visible. Oh, it's down here. You can see it's on 100. So if I change that, let's do a 500 instead, and let's make it line width. We're gonna make it a bit fatter, and we can update it. And now you can see my blue line in the middle. So you can even do this kind of cool features in the visualization. And we can also do predictive analytics. I haven't played a lot with this, but you can do some kind of a forecast based on, it didn't work out of the box. So based on historical data. All right, so I think the demo part is done. Please ask more questions. There is a lot more I can show you and demo. We played a lot with this, and we're at the moment building a lot of new dashboards for our clients. So there's really a lot of things we're learning, and we're thrilled about how great it is actually. So the next thing I will talk about is, of course, what does it cost? So we were selling this as a SaaS service. So at the moment, you can get Matomo plus Rebel metrics from us, and the pricing is starting from 799 euros per month, and that would include 100,000 actions. And yeah, that also includes all the premium plugin bundle from Matomo and access to world-class Matomo supports and so on. But you can read about it there. However, it's only available right now if you are a client to Digitalist in our Matomo world. So sadly, you can't really just buy this and get started. However, in beginning of next year, we're looking for beta clients because we're building this, actually a plugin that will integrate to any Matomo. So you can start using our SaaS service for Rebel metrics, no matter where your Matomo is. And I'm actually looking for beta clients. You would have a discounted price for some time, and we're gonna work together to see if that works. The price target right now for just Rebel metrics is 190 euros per month, but that's just target for the moment. We'll see where it will land. So yeah, any questions? I got one question from Peter. Do you have a large data set of 10 gigabytes or more, and how does it perform? Yeah, we have really large data sets, and we actually, this is a great thing about ClickHouse. ClickHouse and Superset are actually one of the reasons for that we choose Superset was actually, first of all, because it's super flexible. You can see all the layers of logic we can work with. We as a provider can build our solution into this. Also, ClickHouse is really known to be performant. So I know Microsoft, for instance, uses Superset on top of ClickHouse for internal things. And ClickHouse is really 10 gigabytes is just nothing in this world. Of course, you need to learn how to make it performant. You can refer to Matomo. I would say that 10 gigabytes is not really a problem in Matomo if you know what you're doing. Most people don't. Most people install Matomo and think it's going to handle it by itself, but it's not the case. You need to know the systems and how to optimize them to be able to handle that kind of a data set. All right, let me know if you have more questions. There's one coming in, at least I can see in the chat. What do you think? Does it look usable? Thank you, Björn. So maybe I can just describe a little bit, because I think if you want to do this on your own, there are some things that you need to know. It's really, we've been working on this solution for like 3 years. So it doesn't really happen overnight. It's not a project you do in a couple of weeks. Looking at this SQL query that we're still working really hard with is something we worked on a lot. And then, of course, we've actually tried out different databases. We even played with different visualization tools. And in the end, we might want to use something else. But as I said, Apache Superset was really flexible for us to work with. What we're going to offer later on, we don't do that currently. We offered so that you can, that one I didn't show you actually. You can upload your own databases or files here. So that's really great. So, and when you do so, you will get something like a new data set. So after importing it, the data set or the spreadsheet will look something like this. So you can start to just build your queries based on that SQL query. You can create a chart and then visualize that or add it to your dashboards. So you can combine different data sources. But what I mean is that a lot of companies have solutions, or they want to integrate some other API. Maybe their CRM system or something like that. So we're not currently allowing that, but we will definitely do so later on, because it's going to be, that's what you want. We're also looking into integrations towards like Google products, etc. But for now, we're focusing on making the Matomo experience awesome. Okay, if we don't have any more questions, I will thank you for your time, and please don't hesitate to contact me if you're interested, want to try it out. I will be happy to invite you after, in the beginning of next year sometime. I'm not having a fixed schedule there, but we're looking into the integration part for the moment. Oh, so another question. So what is the advantage of Superset over Tableau? Well, as I said, Superset is just the visualization layer. The hard part here is that the export and the data model we actually built and the storage in ClickHouse, what we could theoretically use Google Locker on top of that. But the reason for that we use Superset is, I would say, it's open source, so we could build charts. We could start to build our own charts if we wanted to. We actually already contributed to some of the integrations. So we did modifications and contributions to the database connector to I don't think it was ClickHouse. We tried some other ones before. So you can start to do those things that are great with open source. We also liked that we're building this with Kubernetes, so we can actually deploy everything. Tableau is a you have to buy it, so it's a different thing. We would only use open source for this type of solutions. So I hope that answers. All right, so we have another question coming in. Yeah, looking forward to that, Peter. Well, you're welcome. And thanks.
Okay, thank you very much, Thomas, for your session. Very super interesting.
Thank you. I hope you enjoyed it.
And I think the chat will be open, so everyone can continue writing questions in the chat if you still want to dig into it.
Yeah, I'll check the chat during the day here. All right, have a great Matomo Camp day to you, and yeah.
Thank you.
Entire screen. Not the one. Entire screen. Sorry, I have to switch. Didn't go as expected.